what exactly, like, what is the benchmark? What is the spot when you say this is what it is that you have cheated? Is it when you are lusting after a woman on social media, scrolling and clicking, double clicking and liking where she's not dressed, you know, she's almost half naked? Or is it when you're messaging someone and asking them, oh, can I, you know, spend time with you? Or is it the point when you have actually gone the next step to, you know, sleep with them?
What you guys see as cheating on the surface level is so much more deeper than that.
How are you guys holding up? It's been another week and we are so excited to be back. I think we need to start numbering our episodes just for reference purposes. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
Because I feel like if someone is maybe asking for something, you can say, oh, refer to episode 10.
Yeah.
And it's easy for you to just look through and then
episode.
Yeah, so all our
on Apple podcast
it's numbered. Okay, yeah, but on YouTube.
But on
so
YouTube
maybe
it's
what
not
we're going to say,
numbered. So you just use the same and reference it, right?
Exactly. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to number. So let's assume this is episode.
I think this is episode 10. Why? Is it not 10 or 11?
I think it's
right.
I'm suspecting 10.
Yeah, because the last time I checked on the Apple podcast, I think it was 9. We were at 9. 10. So it should be 10 or 11.
I think
but you guys check to make sure that I'm right.
Yes.
Or Ginika is right.
How are you guys doing? We're here again, yet another episode. And we are your host, Ginika Temple, and this is Sophie Moka.
Nice to meet you.
In case you're here for the first time, this is a faith-based podcast where we talk about everything that has to do with faith,
motherhood,
entrepreneurship,
friendship,
relationship,
business,
and purpose. So you guys, everything is here. Like, there's nothing that is off limits, and we try as much as possible to bring you everything in all honesty. And also, you know, nothing is, you know, filtered here. We just say it as it is. So today's topic is one that is a little bit uncomfortable. Do you know why? I feel like people don't really like to talk about, you know, everything that has to do with marriages, cheating, trust. Because I feel like people don't want to present themselves as they have it all together.
Yeah, holier than thou.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe, like, for example, you're talking about marriage issues and stuff like that, and you know, you begin to look like, oh, your marriage is all, you know, perfect. And
perfect.
God forbid anything happens in the future, people will not be like, oh, people don't want that stigma of, oh, I've already presented myself this way, and I don't want it to be like, you know, if anything doesn't go the way I pray, I've prayed, and you know, people will be looking at me like, okay, I thought she was the one advising us.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, someone has talked about it, right?
Yeah.
So we're not talking about it because we have it all figured out. We're talking about it because these are topics that, you know, need to be discussed so that all of us can learn.
Yeah.
Because it's all a learning curve for every single one of us.
And also, like, we need to talk about it because we need to hold ourselves accountable.
Right.
Not just us, our spouses, the people around us. Everybody needs to hold themselves accountable. Yeah. I want my friend's husband to see me somewhere and know that, oh, Sophie is here, she doesn't play like that, right? So there are certain things I cannot do, right? So I think we need to hold ourselves accountable, not just for ourselves as people, I think for our children, especially like if you're in a married relationship, like you're married and then you have kids, you have to think about the kids, the future, because you're basically an example of what they hope to see in the world, right? And then so if you're not living your life like right, it's gonna affect them one way or the other, right? You hear so many kids talk about how they are from broken homes and how that affects them. You know, there are different things that can break a home, right? Not just cheating, right? There's you know, abuse, you know, verbal or physical. There's so many other things, right? But there are kids that say, oh, the trauma of what they saw their fathers do. And we're also going to talk about it from different perspectives. We'll talk about it from what I have seen on the Western front, like here in Canada, and what I have seen when it comes to cheating, marriage, family, in the African front, like coming from Nigeria and everything, and how the society, I think, you know, sort of like helps amplify those things, you know, what we can do as adults, like, because there are certain things I felt I couldn't do. I remember being in university and people would say, oh, I can't imagine being married and you be tasting only one soup. you know, in quotes, like you be eating only one soup for the rest of your life. This one. And then in those conversations, I'll just be like, well, yeah, like I was indifferent. Like I didn't have any high standards to hold myself up to. Like I didn't have any. I knew God. I knew of God, and I was praying once in a while, and I would have conversations with God. I gave my life to Christ, you know, before school, but being serious and the growth that I've had in my spiritual journey, I'm in two different places now. So the level and the way I see those kind of conversations are different now. It's not really a joke anymore, you know. And then so it's like diving right in, because recently I saw like from a popular podcast in Nigeria, and then you know how the world is now, like technology has made everything so small. So I was watching it. Actually, somebody shared it in one of the WhatsApp groups that I'm in, and it was married guy, and I was shocked that he was sharing it. And then the kind of conversation they were having around it was like, oh yeah, married women, come and have your own conversation, come and talk, you know.
What was the content?
The lady was practically talking about how she's a side chick. So if you don't know what side chick is, it's like, you know, married men dating outside of their married, right? They have these girlfriends call themselves side chicks. So I'm not the main chick. The main chick is the wife at home, but I'm the side chick, right? That's what they say. And she was basically justifying the side chickness or side chick business, and saying that, you know, married women should be grateful that the side chicks are keeping their home, and trying to give all these excuses why the man is happy in his home because he has a side chick, to blow steam off. Basically. Right?
Just wow.
And then the person that shared it was a married man, and was all like, oh, married man, come on. And I was like, I don't understand why people go into relationships if they don't understand what relationship or what marriage is all about. You know, I was asking myself, am I the only one that takes it that deep? You know, am I the only one that sees it from not just a normal standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint? Like, it's crazy these days. Like, but I'm not surprised, because even the Bible said that the kind of things we'll see in the end times is crazy. But you know, I'm like, what are people turning into?
Honestly, is first of all the biggest, I wouldn't say issue, because to each their own, right? But I feel like the issue, the problem there is not even the man sharing it. My biggest problem is the person who is sitting down calling herself a side chick, and you are proud, and you're making a video, and you're posting it, and you're allowing them record you, and in quotes the title that out of all the titles in the world that would suit anyone, the one you chose
The side chick.
is a side chick.
With your full chest.
With your full chest. It's a different thing if maybe you didn't know that the man is married, and maybe you guys are in a relationship and all of that. But to know that someone is married, I'm not even talking about it from the biblical standpoint, which we all know God has said, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Let's not even go that way yet. But then, even from the fact that you know that your acts or your actions is bringing someone else sorrow, because no matter how we want to look at it, it is bringing someone else sorrow. We cannot serve two masters, and every man or any woman who is having a relationship outside of their marriage, no matter how small, no matter how big, their attention is somewhere. If it's not in their home, their attention is somewhere else. And that is one of the things that bothers me, because if you are bold enough to look at another person and you know that their marriage is breaking, not because, you know, people are going through stuff or they're just going through a season,
because of
you. And you know, and that is the only thing that really bothers me about the whole side chick thing. And also, it's not even just about the woman. The man who knows that you could use this same energy, you could channel this energy to maybe going for counseling or going, you know, to therapy or whatever it is that you could do to rekindle the fire in your home. And you choose in that situation to just find solace in another person, leaving your house on fire. I really don't know what to think about it, because, and it's, I feel like a lot of young people, a lot of old young people, whatever the age, don't really understand what marriage entails. You know, sometimes I used to say that I wish, sometimes I knowing what I know now, there was a time I was thinking out loud. I was like, maybe I should have married way later. Of course, I knew that God had a different plans for me but why I said that was because
more wiser.
The reality in marriage sometimes would lead you to really, like, if you're not strong, if you're not strong, this thing can, because there are times that your expectations. We're just talking about just before we started this episode. We're talking about the lady, the trending video on TikTok.
Yes,
the lady that
trophy
wife. This thing that has been trending. That has her husband. I think the husband is a stepfather to the kids. I don't remember the story exactly, but I know that
really
they are like the father figure to the kids. And then that the child that was molested, at least the one I watched, I didn't watch the full video, but the child was 4. And I feel
I can't even.
You don't understand. Do you know that what the part I was even thinking about it from was, for you to have come to a point where you're living in the same home with someone, there must have been some level of trust.
Of course.
There must have been some level of love. There must have been some level. How do people go from that love, that trust, to the topic of that video on YouTube is I married a monster. How do you go from this place of being to an extent so sure? Some people marry and they are so sure about this person. You're 100% sure that this is it. This is the person that God has given you. And then how do we go from there to the direct opposite, where you can literally label this person a devil, a monster, a whatever, a wolf in sheep clothing?
I don't like, you can't even say maybe they were unequally yoked, because I've even seen stories of pastors, men of God, so let me not say men of God, so-called men of God, right, do those things to members in their church, or even children, all that too. So one thing I know is that I'm not surprised about the things I hear anymore, because sinister things happen. I've heard stories before. I used to be shocked when I hear certain things, and I'm like, what? I heard a story. I watched a video recently of, I think it was Pastor Femi Lazarus was interviewing a woman, and the woman was talking about her husband and how she finally was able to leave him, and then he called her on the phone and was like, how did you escape me? Like, how did you escape me? And all of that.
I watched it though. I watched that one.
Escape you? How? Like, it's so crazy that we live, like the Bible says, like a man shall leave his family and everything and cleave to his wife. So we have been raised, the culture, especially in Africa, right, have been raised, the girls have been raised to this, to attain this level of status in society, you have to be married, right? And then I feel like we sort of chase that thing to be married, and then we sort of choose partners, right, that might not be the right fit. And then we choose partners, or people choose partners for different reasons. Some choose for status, right? Some choose for money, right? Some choose for different things. But I feel like if God is not at the center of your choosing, right, you never know. The Bible says that the heart of man is desperately wicked. Not just wicked, desperately. So it's itching to do wicked things, right? And without God at the center, you can never vouch for anybody. Can never vouch for anybody. Like when you told me that story about the trophy wife, I'm like, even in my own house, that's not my step parents or step, I am very watchful of everything that happens around. Not that I don't trust or anything, but I'm just being careful as a mother. I know even down to the words, I try to use on my kids or other people use around, right? Or how the correction is going. Like, you never really know, you can never trust. That's why when I was getting married, I've never even been growing up, I was never attaining to marriage. When they used to ask, like, say it in school, even in university, my friends, I used to be like, marriage, I'm not there yet. I'm not. Yeah. So even when marriage came and my husband proposed to me, I was like, nope, I ain't ready. I ain't ready. And it was like a back and forth conversation. I'm not ready. I talked to my uncles, talked to aunties, talked to people that advised me, and like, I think you should do it now because you have so many things to do, ambition, so many things. Like, do it, have your kids now, and then go, right? And I was like, oh, thank you for your advice, but I'll pray about it. And there were 2 signs I told God to give me, right? In building my relationship with God, one of the first way I got to know God speaks to me is through signs, you know, and God confirmed it with his word. Even when, you know, Isaac went to the well looking for a wife, and, you know, God said, I'll give you a sign. Even the sign he gave Abraham with the lamb by the side, so he won't sacrifice it. So many things. And reading my Bible, I realized my God is a God of signs, and if you ask, he will give you, right? But it's not like you ask once, he has given you, you still want to ask 10 times to be sure. Like, that one is your doubt and your fear, you know. But I asked God for 2 signs, and he gave me those 2 signs. One was another relationship that I had growing, you know, and I felt that was the way I wanted to go. And, you know, I asked God that if that was it, like, cause something big to happen, something big, massive, and something big and massive happen, like a fight, big. I was like, never in the history of my relationship or friendship with people has that thing happened. And it happened. I was like, oh. First time I asked, he said, you asked, and I showed you. If you say it's not this person, I should do this. Now I've done it. I told you not this person. If you want to dive there, whatever you see at the end, I will be with you through it, but it would happen, right? So that was my first sign. And then the second sign happened too. I won't really go into that one, but God gave me 2 signs, and I knew that this was the way, right? And that was when my journey to, like, discovering God, I got deeper when I had my first daughter. That was a different spiritual journey, right? But I feel like choosing who you get to spend your life with forever, if God is not at the center, like, there's going to be so many ups and downs, so many bad stories, so many mistakes, so many cases of cheating. Like, sometimes even when God is at the center, I'm not saying there's no cheating, right? Because of the society we live in, because how the society, especially in the African, you know, society, how cheating has sort of been normalized. Like, the men grow up to see their fathers cheat, you know, and then they in turn do it, and even the friends around them see it as normal. They're like, oh boy, like, go do it, right? There's nothing there. It's almost like if you're not doing it, you're not among, you know, to be among. And even some wives to overlook it. Some people are like, as long as he's treating me right and giving me money and taking care of the kids, I'm fine, I'm okay, you know. But when are we going to have the real conversations about what it does from generation to generation? Because the society has normalized it because of what is a pattern being passed down from generation to generation to generation. And people need to understand. So I'm talking both for the men and for us, the women, because I'm holding all of us accountable. Is when you go on bed with that person that is not the one that you walked up on the altar with and made that vow together to love and to hold, you know, for better, for all of that too. Sometimes the person, the third party that you're going on that bed with, you don't even know what that person is carrying. Some people are carrying generational curses. Some people are not normal human beings, right? Because I believe that they are spiritual beings and all of that too. So some people are not even normal. Some are brought in to destroy certain things, and then you think it's just, well, I'm opening my legs and I'm just having fun and having sex. No, you're tying whatever thing that you're tying on that bed, you're tying in your spouse, you're tying in your children, you're tying in your generation. That's why sometimes you go to some churches and everything, the pastor will be telling somebody that there's a generational curse place. Sometimes it might have just been that one mistake that one person made and just went on the bed with someone. There was one Bible verse, it's in Proverbs 7, and David is one person that I see people reference.
I said, my son, keep my words and store my commandments within you. Keep my commands and you will live. Guide my teaching as the apple of your eye. Bind them with your fingers. Write them on the tablets of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you're my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman, from the wayward woman with her seductive words. At the window of my house, I looked down through the lattice. I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men a youth who had no sense. He was going down the street near her corner, walking along in the direction of her house at twilight as the day was fading, as the dark of the night set in. Then out came a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute with crafty intent. She is unruly and defiant. Her feet never stay at home. Now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner she lurks. She took hold of him and kissed him, and with a brazen face she said, "Today I fulfill my vows, and I have food from my fellowship offering at home. So I came out to meet you. I looked for you and have found you. I have covered my bed with colored linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon."
All enticing.
You can imagine. "Come, let's drink deeply of love till morning. Let's enjoy ourselves with love. My husband is not home. She has gone on a long journey. He took his purse filled with money and will not be home till full moon." With persuasive words, she led him astray. She seduced him with her smooth talk. All at once, he followed her, like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into a noose, till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into the snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. Now then, my sons, listen to me. Pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways or stray into her path. Many are victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death.
When I read it, very deep, I painted a picture of a man who is David, who married so many wives, because everybody uses him as an example. David, Solomon, look at, after all, they married so many wives and everything. This is him painting the picture of some of the things that he has seen or even experienced in his own life, being seduced by other women, wanting more for that quick, how many seconds, how many minutes pleasure on that bed. See what it cost, his life. Pierced arrow, pierced liver, all of that too. Like, if you can paint the picture of somebody on the bed with a pierced liver, her bed is leading straight to the grave, to death. All of that. Like, when I read it, I was like, the Holy Spirit was trying to help me understand. It was like, what you guys see as cheating on the surface level is so much more deeper than that. And this chapter by David captures like everything that I can try to explain. So it's both for the man and the woman, right?
As the years go by, you find that people start asking, what exactly, like, what is the benchmark, what is the spot when you say this is what it is that you have cheated? Is it when you are lusting after a woman on social media, scrolling and clicking, double clicking and liking where she's not dressed, she's almost half naked? Or is it when you're messaging someone and asking them, oh, can I spend time with you? Or is it the point when you have actually gone the next step to sleep with them? What do you think is the point where an action is considered cheating?
I think it's lusting. Because we see we women joke like, oh, you're watching a movie and the guy is hot, oh, he looks hotter, and that's it, everybody has forgotten about it. But it's now when you go and you spiral, search for the person's social media, start scrolling through their pictures, they're taking off their shirt, oh my god, you're lusting already. And you feel it, you feel the tingling, the sensation. It's lost already. Right, it's lost. And the men too, the same way too. Like, you start secret, you're always wanting to rush, look at their page, always see all the things that OnlyFans, you're subscribing to their OnlyFans, you're checking. After all, I'm not having sex with the person, right? I'm just watching. No, it starts from there, because that's how the devil lays the snares, the trap. Just like this lady, oh, my bed, luxurious. It starts with those things first. The perfume is blowing it your way first. And then you start to lust, and then you take one step closer to the house, right? The devil knows that all he has to do is start in your mind, and as it starts in your mind, he gets to paint the picture. He starts to paint that picture for you. He entices you. You like it. You want it. You're asking for more. Before you know,
it's gone.
Step by step, you're already going in there.
It's unfortunate that a lot of marriages today, or a lot of relationships, there is like, most people have been in that situation where they have either found something, or you've seen something, or you know that there is something that your wife is doing or your husband is doing, and you know that this is not how I planned my marriage to be. This is not how I envisioned it to be. I had envisioned a very happy home where we're going to be living together, happily married, and all of that. And then, you know, the moment that trust is broken, it's almost impossible to get it back. It's just like one way that I saw one guy illustrates how trust works is that it's just like a glass. So if you have like a glass, a brand new glass that you used to drink water, and it breaks, no matter how you gather the pieces back to use glue to glue it back, it would never be that same
full
beautiful
glass. Never. You see
it would
the cracks.
never be the same. You will always see the cracks.
So
it would always remind you, and it would always take you back to the fact that this has been altered. So sometimes, even in the process of, you know, wanting to build a very beautiful home, sometimes for something that is not even your fault, you find that the other person is not on that same page in trying to build a happy home. You are doing the best you can, but their actions is just basically doing the direct opposite. So I feel like that is also where a lot of women find themselves, you know, where you are in this situation where you just, you know, want something beautiful, but your significant other, be it man or woman, is just basically in this place where they cannot help but wonder. Their eyes cannot help but wonder. If a woman is in that situation, or a man is listening and they're in that situation, how do you think they should navigate that season of their life?
You know, sometimes if you're not in those shoes, it will be very hard to really picture. I remember people used to ask me then, like, oh, if your husband cheats or whatever, what will you do then? I wasn't married. I'd be like, hey, I will leave. I will break your head. I will. Now, if you ask me that question, I would think twice, because I have 3 kids. I would think deeply about the situation, about his reaction, about how apologetic. You know, I would think about so many things, right? So I really don't know. And another thing is, you have to also check the situation, how it affects you guys, because one thing, you know, the Bible says, like, a man shall leave his wife, he will leave his parents and join to his wife, and they shall become one. The moment somebody enters the middle, you're not one anymore.
You're no longer one.
You're broken apart already. There's somebody in your middle. So everything in your space, in your situation, is no longer one. Your finances is no longer one. So people wonder why certain things start to go wrong in their finances. That's the problem. You're no longer one. It's just like a broom. They say when a broom is together, you do many things. But when you're individual, like, you cannot, right? So that's how it is. The man is now here, the woman is here. Physically, it looks like they're married, you know, but there's somebody in between, and that person, if that person has sinister and ulterior motives, things start to play out. The finances go wrong, the children, things are going left, behaviors are coming from everywhere, bad omens, people are falling sick, different things start to go wrong, and people start to wonder, how did we let this happen? But the moment, and the devil knows, when the man and the woman are together, they are the strongest units. Like, if he comes near a strong unit that is deeply founded in God, he knows he cannot enter. Is it crazy? Like, he knows that place is fire. His feet cannot rest. But the moment he's able to get a third party in between,
that's it.
Anything goes, anything can enter.